everybody. So I know a lot of you are stuck at home with your toddler or your preschooler or your kindergarten, and a lot of you may know this, some of you don't, but I co-authored a book called Slow and Steady Get Me Ready for Kindergarten, and it has 260 activities to do with your child from ages 0 to 5. And for the next few weeks, I'm going to be sharing a few of those activities that are super easy, and they all require things, easy setup, easy cleanup, and things that you have right now in your home. You don't need to go and buy anything new. So today's activity, I'm actually getting today's activity from age 3, activity 14. It's actually called Penny and Nickel, but I'm actually just going to explore one of the activities that I have in the Penny and Nickel activity page. Today's activity is super fun, super easy with the setup, and easy to do with your child. It's also really great to have your child set up, model how to do it, and then create independent developmental play for your child, so that you don't have to be with your child in that moment every single second they're doing it. So this is called Pretend Store, and some of you are going to go, oh, that's so simple, but this is really fun. You can recycle your recyclables before you actually recycle them. So super easy, like this is an empty cereal box that I have, and you just need some tape. I would even have your youngsters help you out. You can peel off a piece of tape and say, hey, can you shut this or close this particular box so that it's not open anymore? Hey, Busy, good to see you. So there you go. There's a cereal box that you can use in your Pretend Store. And I would just devote like a table, maybe a coffee table, to be your Pretend Store shelf. Got an empty box of crackers that I'm going to tape up, really simple, and to create the simulation. Simulations are so good for children to be doing as part of their play because it gives them real-world activities or real-world simulations. Here's a toothpaste box, empty toothpaste box that I can use as part of my store. Simulations really also help students and young children with cognitive development and just helping them think through problem-solving situations in a really relaxed, no-risk environment. So an old tea box, an empty tea box, would also work really well. And then put a couple bottles of sorts. So I've got you can easily just wash out your hand soap. Just wash that out. Your child can even help you wash that out. And then it's just an empty hand soap. Empty shampoo bottle. I just rinse that out as well, and you can use that for Pretend Store. Here's an old Band-Aid box, empty Band-Aid box. I can tape that up. Here's an old ice cream that we can use as well that I washed out. So setting those up in a place that's easy for your child to Pretend Store. And then for young children, I would say ages 2 and 3, the goal would be to Pretend Store, which is set all the items out and collect them either in a cart or a shopping basket. If you don't have that, you can just use one of your reusable shopping bags, which is fantastic and works great. And they can go and just collect all of the things and put them in the cart. This is great for gross motor skills and even fine motor skills in having to pick up the item and put it in the bag. And then they can show you what they bought. Another great way to enhance that activity is to create a counting game. So then you can say, how many items did you buy? And you can actually have your child count. 1, 2, 3, 4, or however many he or she shopped for. Another idea would be to do the reverse and say, I want you to go shopping for 5 items, and then have your child collect 5 items and then bring them to you to verify that he or she knows how to count up to 5. And you can extend that. You can extend that up to 10. In fact, there's a great complimentary read aloud book that I recommend. It's called 10 Items or Less. It's a counting book. It's a little golden book that I used to really enjoy. It's by Stephanie Kalmanson, and It's called 10 Items or Less Accounting Book, and it just walks through a child and parent going to a store and making sure that they only collect 10 items or less. So you can do that with your child. You can also create a pretend scanner for your child. This was something my brothers and I really enjoyed doing as children, and we didn't even have any technology back then. Some of your children have these really cute cash registers and scanners. We actually used an old encyclopedia, and we put the encyclopedia down, and that was like our scanner, and we would just make sure that boop, and we created our own sound. You don't even need to have your child have their own sound for the scanner. So let's go ahead and differentiate this for students who might be 3 or 4 or even 5 who want to go ahead and add on to this really cool, fun, pretend store simulation. So you can have your students, or children I should say, you can put prices on the individual items. So you can just put maybe $5, a little label. Now this could be a label if you have labels around your house. It could also be masking tape and a marker. And then you actually are showing that each of the items has a price tag on them. So you can price all of your items and then have your child actually add up the prices. So for young children, just make it a whole number, like $5, $7 with no cents. And they could even use, if you have a little calculator at home, they can add up and punch in the numbers to add it up on a calculator and then show you the price. My brothers and I would even use index cards for a receipt. We had a lot of fun with this growing up. And so we could add up the prices and have a receipt. Now, if you really want to get fancy, you can also actually create the cents, and I would only add on after you know your child can handle more than just the whole numbers, but you can add in the decimal 325, and then they can add that up on their calculator and have a total price. So for students who are now getting older and their number sense is maturing, you may even want to add on and go ahead and enhance the activity by actually bringing in money to the simulation. So if you have Monopoly money, that's my favorite money, so go to your Monopoly box and get out the 1s and the 5s, and that's a really fun way to actually simulate the actual pretend store experience. So get your empty box and your cart ready, and the child can scan each of the items. They can add it up in their calculator, and either they themselves can be the cashier and the purchaser, which we've done before, or if you have siblings at home, this is a really fun way to get them involved, especially if they're older. They can come shop at your child's store, and they can actually do the money exchange. And by working with other children, even if they're older children, they're actually working through the process, the problem-solving process of adding and subtracting. Now, if you want to get really fancy, you can add in a few coins and teach your children a little bit about the value of coins to be able to do an addition problem with the cents. Now, if you're wanting to get your child to do this completely independent of you, my advice to you is to model for your child how to do the simulation and work with your child to figure out where he or she is at, because this activity is suggested as an age 3 activity, but as you can see, I built and built and built on the activity to even make it accessible to 2nd graders if you really wanted to with your young children. So it can start with just lining up all of the items out on a coffee table. The next step would be to fill the bag, right? For your 3-year-olds at home. The next step would be to add on to that and actually create a cashier experience with a scanner of sorts. And then you can add on and create those math games or math activities by starting with counting how many items are in your bag, or go get me this many items from the shelves. Then you can add on by saying what prices each one of the items are and label labeling each of the items with a price tag, and then after that you can build on again by adding in the actual simulation of money. Remember, Monopoly money has so many uses, and I love reusing Monopoly type money for these types of simulations. This is just one activity in this book that's got hundreds, and we have 260 pages worth of activities in this book, and I love to be able to share what you can use at home with your child to really have them enjoy their time at home, try something new, and really simulate real-world experiences that will help develop them cognitively, but also with their gross motor skills and their fine motor skills. So I encourage you to share this video with anyone you know, a young mama, daddy of small children. And remember, this activity can be differentiated even to older students, like grade 1 or grade 2 students who are learning basic addition and subtraction. This was something that kept my brothers and I occupied 4 hours independently of my mother. So I really encourage you to set your child up for success and independent play by giving them the tools that they need and modeling the experience for them so that they can do it on their own and keep themselves busy and occupied for many, many, many hours to come. Bye-bye, guys.